All right, good morning. 51 minutes after 9 o'clock on this Thursday. Beautiful start to this Thursday outside. Hello, everyone. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Goode. Welcome to the blog here today. Welcome aboard, Carrie. I think you were the first ones. YouTube, of course, you guys get that early notification. YouTube, good place to be. Wave weather app, got you covered there. That notification, yes, it did go out on the news app as well. So hopefully everyone's getting all the alerts. You like the music? Okay, we'll just here. Okay, now it's got a little different vibe to it. All right, good morning, everybody. I hope you are all doing well. I've had a good week. I know it's been kind of a hectic weather year. Not let alone a week, right? We do have some nice weather coming our way the next couple of days. Now, today is going to be a changeable weather day, so some caution on that. I know it's really pretty out there now, especially for those of you in near 64 North, but it's going to be evolving as the day wears on. I'll let you know what to expect coming up here in just a second. And then the weekend, still just watching how this is going to evolve when it comes to these rain chances. It's not settling very well on trying to come in a better alignment and agreement. So I'm kind of outlining where we're thinking on this, how things are lining up, and the outlook briefly into the long term as well. As always, you guys can comment as you are already. Is it Lolit? Hello, Lolit. Shout out to you. Hello, Angie. Angie, music makes me wish I was somewhere tropical. Me too. I always think of Charleston, living there when I hear that. Dell says, I like this cool weather. Hey, Andre, how you doing? I haven't talked to you in a long time. Ready for pool weather? Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Andre, because yes, pools technically do open in many spots on Monday, but the overnight lows matter in the pool season around here, and they're not very warm. So these pools are going to be cold for a while. I mean, you got to get a good solid week of 68 plus overnight lows, and then your water temperature starts to improve and eventually becomes like bath water, by August. But at least in the short term, these pools are going to be freezing. Now for kids, they don't care about that. They'll jump in no matter what. Us adults, a little harder to do that. But I still do the whole adage of when you're a kid, you just gotta jump in. Don't ease down the ladder. All right, don't ease down the ladder. Just do a cannonball and go for it, and get it out of the way. That's I think that's still the best way to do it. It's a shock to the system, but boy, it's worth it, right? Okay, so let's get right into it, and we'll get started with the beautiful setup that a lot of you have been commenting on how the gorgeous sky is outside, breezy out. The cool weather is nice. Don't get me wrong. It's not anything that is overly cold or anything about that stretch. Unusually cool, yes, but comfortable, right? Because at this point in the year, you never know what you're going to get to Memorial Day weekend. We've been in the upper 80s and lower 90s before. We've had severe weather. In fact, last year, I know Carson is on his way out. I'm not sure if he's on or not, but Carson went to the Indy 500 last year, and that's when they had the delay that took place because of the severe weather. So last year was very active around this time. I don't see as much an active setup as far as a severe weather ordeal this year, including the Indy 500, but I do think it is not exactly an ideal type of weekend. But as we've been pointing out, tomorrow and most of Saturday are your 2 days, especially tomorrow, are your days to really enjoy being outside. If you have any outdoor plans, take advantage of those 2 days. While you could get some bonus time here in parts of Sunday, I don't think the trend is your friend right now on that. All right. So you can see live there in Bardstown. Look at the flags whipping around. Yeah. Nice cool breeze. Stepping outside. It does feel very refreshing. Here are the numbers. 61 in Louisville. You can tell where the clouds have rolled in. I'll show you the satellite in a second, but only in the lower 50s for those of you. North Vernon. Hello, Madison. Hello, up there into Bedford and Paoli. Meanwhile, you got a lot of blue sky. So it is absolutely gorgeous down there to the south in the lower 60s. You had a nice day too yesterday. You were in the lower 70s for a while. It's going to be very similar today, where the viewing area is divided, as usually the case here, I-64, the line. But this time around, the clouds will have a little bit further of a reach down into central Kentucky than what they had for yesterday, and even some light showers will be possible. So let me show you the view from up above, and you can see how two things are happening. One, you've got the backlash of the low pressure, this giant low that's in the Great Lakes. I'll show you in a scan here in a minute. The backlash and the moisture from that is funneling in the Ohio Valley, but it is chilly outside, relatively speaking, but it certainly is above our heads right now. And as the ground heats up, it doesn't take long this time of year. You only need about 90 minutes. And right on cue, as the ground is heating up, the air is rising, and there's just enough moisture in the layer right above basically the building level in downtown Louisville. So once the moisture, the air rising hits that, it creates this boundary of very flat cumulus clouds across the region, but they're all over the place, right? They just really develop rapidly, and eventually it gets crowded. There's so many of them, they bump together, and it becomes just one big shield of clouds and overcast. And that will be the trend. And as this moisture field drops down from the north today, we're going to see all that expand as the ground heats up. So this is why the mornings count. If you want the sunnier part of the day, you got to wake up early, because once the ground starts its rising motion idea, and you get those cumulus forming, then it gets a little tougher. And the opposite will happen toward evening. Once you get the sun a little lower in the sky, the rise in motion of the warmth of the ground begins to ease down, and therefore the clouds fall apart. So you end up with a clearing sky, usually right at sunset. But the afternoon probably will be our toughest part of the day today, with more of an overcast type of setup. And that's going to have a big impact on temperatures as well. Here's the radar showing that band of showers that is around Indianapolis, now moving into very close to Jackson County and Jennings County. It's right now, it's in Bartholomew County, all the way into Brown County, Indiana. And again, this will kind of pivot down to the south today. Very, very light rain, nothing heavy at all. Some of this may struggle to even reach the ground because the air is quite dry. So these clouds can only have so much of a thickness to them to be able to produce raindrops, let alone a decent shower. So they got a limit to them. But I do think the clouds, you bet, will be dropping in. So for those of you that will see the clouds the earliest here, which is happening now in Indiana, you're going to have the coolest temperatures because you're already being cut off of the pass on your warming right now. You saw the 54s are on the map. You're going to be struggling to get any warmer than that for the rest of the day today, unfortunately. Now, for those of us around Louisville and even in central Kentucky, we've made it already above 60, right? So at least we're going to be that warm. And we may gain a few more degrees here before those clouds really dominate the sky, and then we'll stop there. That'll be it for our warming for the day, and could even actually drop a degree or two when some of those showers move in, as some of that could evaporate from the air above. But nothing dramatic here today, but I just want to caution you that it is a changeable day. Every hour will look a little different as we evolve here. So just don't want you guys to be caught off guard there, especially if you're outside working and all of a sudden you're like, where's my winter coat? Look at this low pressure, though. This thing is just impressive. Right over Toronto. Man, I mentioned this yesterday, but it's worth mentioning again. What a miserable spring they have had in this area of the country. You know, we've at least had some decent warm spells. They just really have been struggling. They went from a drought scenario for much of the winter. You know, they didn't get the big snows this year. We got them, but they didn't in the Northeast. So they depend on that to really set the stage for their spring water table, right? So taking the winter storms out of the equation, they're running behind here. So it's just now getting into the point where they're able to catch up. And this pattern would have been ideal for them to have big time winter storms in the winter, but this setup was missing in the winter. So they're like, oh, great. Now we get it. We've been there before. We've been there many times where we get these cold, miserable systems in spring. Like, where was this pattern at in January when we could have got decent snow out of it? But I'm speaking as a snow lover. Not all of you are, I understand. But boy, I tell you what, some of the higher elevations, Vermont, New Hampshire, may get a rain snow mix out of this. And I will be discussing a little more about the longer term and this signal here tomorrow night on the blog to let you all know. That'll be right around 8:30, something like that. I'll be on, so a bit different time. But we'll talk more about the long-term trends there. But look at that cool air. I mean, again, right over Canada in the Northeast. Where is all the warmth? Stuck in the South. You got friends or family. They're in the beaches right now on vacation. Last day of school is tomorrow, right, for JCPS. So I'm sure a lot of teachers and parents. Oh, and a special shout out to Brian Dunkley at JCPS, who is retiring tomorrow from JCPS. So I may forget tomorrow, Brian. So happy retirement. Happy retirement to anybody that's in our school systems that are retiring as, again, wrapping up the school year. Although I think I saw, is it Clark County? Can't remember where that was at now. I think you guys go back to school July 31st, something like that. It may not be Clark County. It's somewhere in Indiana, July 31st. Whew. Yikes. All right. First day of school used to always be, when I was at JCPS, it was always the first Monday as the state fair ended. So you went to the fair on that last day on Sunday. I usually would play that little game where you throw the ball into the jars and win a goldfish. And yes, the goldfish probably would live 3 days, but didn't matter. I was excited. And after you go through that Sunday fair day, you would get ready for school on that Monday after. It was like that every year, my whole time. I think that was always a cool way to do it, but different world, right? Clark County. Yeah, Clark County is July 31st. Wow. Okay. Not much of a summer, guys. You gotta really enjoy it while you can, right? Okay, so let's get into how this is going to play out for the weekend, because I know a lot of you have plans outside, and some of you are heading up to even Indianapolis for the 500. I get that. So let me do the short term, then we'll get into the weekend, hour by hour. Today, you can see the clouds that are dropping down to the south. I mentioned the shower chance. Tonight's lows are a bit of a problem. The graph model here is certainly one of the colder ones, indicating like widespread lower 40s, upper 30s in the valley areas. If you are sheltered from any wind, you could drop to around 38 or 39. And no frost worries. But there's some other high res data I've been looking at that's indicating that there could still be some clouds, especially in central and southern Kentucky during the overnight. That may keep your numbers up. And the wind is a bit elevated at times too. Anytime you get a wind of any sort, just wind in general, that does prevent a temperature drop from happening with a clearing sky. So some of the numbers may not completely get down to the 40s level. In fact, the city of Louisville likely is going to stay above 50 the way it's looking now. But if you're in a sheltered spot, and right now I'm thinking it's going to be a little more into parts of the 71 corridor, southeast Indiana, and perhaps around the spots around Meade County and Breckinridge County, you may drop down to some of those cooler spots there. But it will be the coolest morning of this setup will be tonight, tomorrow morning. Okay, tomorrow I mentioned beautiful day, temperatures getting awful close to 70, a lot more sun. We lose some of that moisture in the air tomorrow. There's still some around to get some of those clouds to form in the afternoon, but not as much. So you'll have more blue to work with and the sky above, and therefore to be a little bit warmer. We get into Saturday. Saturday looks good. I think we'll end up with a partly cloudy sky in the area, and maybe some very light rain that may try to sneak in between Evansville and Bowling Green later in the day. So if you're heading down to, say, Nolan Lake, land between the lakes area, Kentucky, you could get some showers later Saturday afternoon. So I don't want to say you're going to stay completely dry. It's just that's the rule of thumb, to be honest with you, on everything I'm about to say. If you're heading south and west, you're going to run into a higher rain chance than if you're heading north and northeast. And that'll be the theme of everything I'm about to tell you. So just kind of keep that in mind as I describe this pattern here. So you may run into that first rain chance as early as Saturday afternoon, southwest of Louisville. All right, that gets us into Saturday nights. Temperatures a little milder as well in the 60s versus these 40s that we'll see in some areas tonight. So let me show you the Euro first. This is going to get us into the setup for Sunday and Monday, which is a two-pronged idea. The one on Sunday is a wave of moisture that'll be diving in from the Midwest and sliding down into Tennessee. The question we've got here for Sunday is there is a strong high that is north of that. I'm going to just draw it here because my pen won't work over the banner. But there's a strong high. This is going to fight as much as it can to push that rain away from the area to the southwest. This having a clockwise flow like this is going to have that dry air coming in. So it's going to fight it. The question is, will it be strong enough, this dome here to the north, to keep it completely dry, or will at least keep Indiana and 71 dry, but central and southern Kentucky just get walloped with moderate to heavy rain, or will it be even weaker and we see a trend north? Right now, the middle of the road idea seems to be winning, where it will be roughly the southern half of the area will have a higher rain chance than areas to the north. So here's the Euro. Let me show you what it shows, and I'll show you a couple other ideas. Here we go with Sunday morning. Now, the morning trend keeps showing up. Actually, it's late Saturday night when a lot of you are asleep, but Sunday morning, that's when the rain will move through. Word of caution here, if you're going to go camping at all, and some of these campgrounds, be weather aware of this setup, because some of this rain, I'm not looking at severe weather here, but some of this rain could really be coming down hard here. I mean, easily up to close to an inch per hour in some of the heavier rates that can form. And that's going to put down some decent totals. So just be careful, watch out for area rivers and streams that may be rising. Keep that mindset on where you're putting your campsite, your camper at. Just be weather aware in case, and have a way to get notified, especially the Wave Weather app. Make sure to click the follow me button on that, because if there's a heavy rain signal near your location based on the app, it will notify you right away that heavy rain is forming, and lightning too. But that's important. Louisville may get lucky here. I think we'll get some rain, but we may escape the more steady, heavier pockets of it. Maybe be very close to us just to the south. And if you're in Indiana and up 71, your odds of staying dry are looking pretty good. So as of right now for the Indy 500, high pressure is certainly more in control of Indianapolis than it is here. So that is a good sign. All right, we'll continue on. Now, here's where things get a little split. We get into Monday, the low pressure itself that will be forming in the plains. It's been hanging out all weekend here, all right? So it's going to be staring us down across the plains itself. It will finally begin to roll out. But will it sense that high pressure and have to go around it, which means it'll have to take a kind of a U-turn feel here. It'll kind of cut to our south. Again, almost like a wintertime snowstorm, right? How they do that, how they loop around us. Or with a high be, again, the high pressure north, will it be weaker, and therefore the low has a chance to cut a little more to the north. Big difference on the impact, and models are really split on both camps on that. My thinking right now, though, if we get this rain on Sunday in central and southern Kentucky, that should create a cool, stable layer across Kentucky. It's going to be really tough for a low pressure to try to cross that and invade that. It will likely try to hang more south. So the Sunday rain is very important on how that will play out. Again, if we end up with a rainier setup on Sunday, that may help in driving the low a little more south, but it bears watching there. But it does keep majority of it. It does graze us. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think the rain chance is still valid for Memorial Day for sure. But it would keep some of the heavier, and certainly the thunderstorm potential, the Euro would keep it down toward even Huntsville, Alabama, even in Atlanta, Georgia, and then eventually heads up the East Coast after that. But let me show you the climate vision, the horizon model. You guys love looking at this. Let me show you a closer view. This is the left image is Sunday, that first wave. Now it actually takes it all the way up there toward Indy, doesn't it? Yeah, I don't know how much that would be reaching the ground. I mean, the air is going to be quite dry. But it really focuses on this part, and this is the area I think you need to watch for not only rain, but some thunderstorms around Bowling Green into Nashville. Here's Monday. This is the actual low pressure, and it takes it right across Kentucky with thunderstorms in our southern counties and a steady rain for the rest of us. Yuck. Now, one thing I will say about this is the horizon model has done very well. And I know this is relatively new technology we've been looking at with AI and short range high res data like this. But it two things. It picked out the London tornado 24 hours in advance. It was off by maybe 25 miles on its track, which is remarkable. And it had a wind gust in Louisville of 82 miles per hour, 2 days. And we mentioned this on the blog. If you're watching, I pointed that out. It had a wind gust showing that 82 miles per hour, 2 days in advance of that. So again, very impressive model. But right now it's in its own camp. There's not much support that looks like this on anything else. So is it onto something, or is it going to be the outliner? Oh boy, big test of AI technology here. I just want to at least show you that, because a lot of you ask, what's that model showing? This is what it's showing. And this actually has been fitting the theme, right, of the entire season, where we're getting these severe weather events along the parkways. You get some strong storms near 64, but Indiana and up 71 has been fairly quiet this season. So patterns keep repeating themselves. So this, I don't think, is really too off the realm of possibilities, because it would match what the pattern has been. And it may repeat itself. So we'll see. Here is WPC, their outlook overall for rain for both events for Sunday and Monday. And I just want you to get the idea again that the more south and southwest you are, the more rainfall you could get out of this. It's going with 1 to maybe 3 inches of rain in some of our counties, especially south of the parkways. And it drops off dramatically the more into the high pressure zone you go off to the north. And as far as the AI technology on severe, that too has done very well this season, but they're all south of us. This is Saturday. All right, I know my pen's, you can't see it, sorry. That's Saturday. The middle box here is CSU for Sunday. Only has Southern Kentucky a low in risk, and then south of us by Monday there. So it's interesting that it is not on board with that northern track. It wants to suppress it. It keeps the high pressure more dominant. And right now there is, again, more support for that than there is for it to cut north, other than the high res AI model there. So I think it's fascinating to see that. Here's your 10-day, though, as it stands now. We'll go with 70s on Friday, 70s again on Saturday. So, again, the next couple of days looking good. Rain chance, we'll keep it at 40%, but keep in mind on the Wave Weather app, it may be a higher percentage for you to the south. And same story on Monday, lower north, higher south, and we'll get rid of that system and we'll try to warm up. But I do have a feeling that we're going to just warm right back up again and then face more in the way of severe weather before we reset back to an unusually cool pattern again. I just don't think this is going to break as fast as what it even originally looked like a few days ago. I think this is going to hold for a while. All right, what questions can I get for you all? And I'll head out of here and stop rambling, because tomorrow night I'm going to spend some time with you all. Be careful, Brian, that AI may be taking your job. Hey, Del, I get that. But one thing about AI, while it does really well in those scenarios, it is not really good about historical context of things. So sometimes you can find some interesting twists to that narrative. All right. Sometimes the models will show something severe, but in the reality of what normally happens here, we kind of have to adjust for that. So plus it's not as witty as I am, but I feel safe. Hi, Crispy. How you doing? Are we seeing any severe potential either day, regardless of the setup or just thunderstorms? Right now, no, I do not have a severe signal that's within our counties. The Horizon model was the closest it gets to our Kentucky counties on the Tennessee border, but it keeps it still out of wave country. And again, I think that layer of stable air that will form with the rain, steady rain on Sunday, that's going to be very hard to flip. Even if we were to get thunderstorms on Monday, they will likely be elevated. They would be, again, a little bit higher off the ground. Therefore, your severe potential, even if they were to try to develop some kind of a wind signature, it may be tough to get that below the tree line. So I'm not as worried about severe weather at all with this kind of a setup as I more am just about rainfall amounts and placement, because I know so many outdoor events are happening and we want to try to make sure we give you the best and accurate setup we can give you guys on timing and amounts so you can plan easily. And I just want to express some caution that it will keep evolving. That strength of the high is going to be so crucial on this. Chris, is there any chance of rain next Friday and Saturday? Yes. I didn't get a chance to show it, but the trend is for another southern low. I kept the pops out for now, but just beyond, you can't see it here on the 10-day, but Saturday night, the chances start. So it may develop at some point next weekend, but there are some faster trends that try to bring in as early as Friday. Yes. Any severe concerns in the near future? I think right now we need to warm back up. Not that we want to, but we warm back up in those 80s again. We will set the stage for probably another period where we need to be much more weather alert. It's going to be really tough to go from this cool pattern into a stormy one like that. Because again, the air is going to be a more cooler, stable air, so it's going to be a little tougher to fight. Even if that low cuts north, I think the storms will be mainly elevated. Travis, how you doing, Travis? What does the end of June look like? We're going to be talking about that tomorrow night. Stay tuned. What's that say? You run a campground carry. I didn't know you run a camper. I don't want to ask you where. I don't want to put you on the spot, but that's kind of cool. I'm sure it's going to be busy. Going to be busy. Will your blog be on YouTube? Yes, it'll be in the usual spots tomorrow night. Twitch even. I'm not sure how many of you ever watch on Twitch, but I'm a big nerd. So yeah, I'm still a gamer. I can't grow up. Happy Hollow Homestead. Well, that sounds very cool, Carrie. Thank you. That's my brother's name, by the way, is Carrie. So I always think my brother's in here. Chuck, any snow chance in the next 10 days? Chuck, you pick on me all winter long, and now you're the one talking about snow. Now you're the one talking about it. No, Chuck, no snow in the next 10 days. At least, no, not yet. Kathy, I hope that it is warmer in June than in May. I mean, obviously, we're going to get warmer, but this reminds me of 2004. I don't want to say, what year was that? Was it 20? I don't know if it was 2014 or not. I know 2004 for sure, but we ended up with some cool temperatures. But there was a recent time, I feel like I've been here forever, but there was one summer that I know we waited till it was near the first day of summer before we got our first 90. But boy, after we did, yeah, we got stuck in them. So let's be careful what we wish for. Remember 2019, we were in the 90s, upper 90s, all the way into the first week of October. So we know there's a balance to all this. Will this year be different? Ooh, find out tomorrow night. All right, drought outlook, Adam. We're okay on that right now. As long as this pattern holds, we are not at risk for any concern on that. But you bring up a good point. I've said this many times. It does not matter what we have been through this spring season. You get 3 weeks of dry weather into late July and the first week of August, and drought status starts to take hold. And you can just flip it that fast. And especially when you get hot, dry days like that, it just wipes all this out. It's like it didn't even matter, right? So, yeah, the summer around here it's crucial on that. I think you just got to have rain every few days. That's crucial to stay out of a drought in the summer. Every few days, you need some type of a rain chance. You go too long without it, problems develop fairly quick. What's your time frame for the blog tomorrow? Right around the usual time when the guys will come on, about 8:15, 8:30, something like that. Why does it look like it's about to storm? Amanda says in Bedford, and that is because the sun is out, and these again are these cumulus clouds are growing just thick enough that they block the sun out, so it looks like a storm. The illusion to that as the darkening sky because it's so bright where you're standing at that moment or where you're looking at that moment. But once it becomes overcast, it won't look as bad as that. But right now with the sun and these thicker cumulus back and forth, yeah, it looks a little ominous out there. Yep, Angela, tomorrow night will be a blog. Hope not. I'm so tired of the rain here in Trumbull County. Yeah, I get it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to run. Got to get ready for a midday show. I ramble too long. And I don't know if Myron is in here or not. She probably does. She's always kicking me out. All right, so here's the 10-day. We'll cover much more on this coming up on midday at 11 a.m. I will see you guys. Also, don't forget today, Don G is coming back. So we should see her at 4 o'clock. I'm hoping as long as she's feeling okay, she'll be on today at 4 o'clock. So make sure to tune in, and we'll be glad to see Don come back here at Wave. All right, take care, guys. I'll see you come up on the flip side.